Hey Potter people, it's Riley,
And Isaac.
and today we have an exclusive interview with S.A. Bodeen, author of The Compound and the Gardener. So, welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Our first question is, hold on. Why did you choose sci-fi for the genre of The Gardener and for Compound?
Well, I'm a big sci-fi fan. Like, if I'm going to sit and read something or watch something, it tends to be like sci-fi or Stephen King or something kind of on the weird side. And for me, it was something I always wanted to write about. So it just seemed natural to me to want to write something that was sci-fi or thriller or something in that genre.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long had the idea for The Compound been in your mind before you actually got to write it?
It wasn't there very long. When I sat down to write The Compound, I did it for NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd always wanted to do kind of a survival story, like how far would you go to survive? And I've just always been really fascinated with nuclear war and the people who would survive and what they would do. And so I kind of had that in my head, but the actual story of The Compound, it really just developed as I was writing the draft for National Novel Writing Month.
Very
Yeah.
cool. What does your writing process look like, and how long does it take you to write a typical book, or more specifically, The Compound?
Well, I try and get my draft done fairly quickly, like within a couple months, beginning to end, because I feel like I'm really a lousy writer, but I'm getting pretty good at revising. So for me, if I can get the beginning to end down pretty quickly, then it's like, okay, that part's over, and now I can really go to work and make this story a story.
Okay. Why did you vary the ethnicities of the characters? We're just curious because we were reading the book in book club, and I know a lot of people were surprised at the different races and different ethnicities of the characters you chose.
Of The Compound?
Yes.
I guess I wanted maybe a little interesting background, and I really wanted to get the Hawaii aspect in there. And when I had spent a lot of time in Hawaii, so many times, like, Hawaiians aren't strictly Hawaiians. They have some Chinese or some Filipino or something. I thought, I just kind of wanted to make them more than just a typical character. I wanted them to have a little bit more ethnic background to them.
Okay.
What was your purpose in creating the supplements? Like, what point did you want to try and get across or something like that?
Well, not that you should eat your brothers and sisters. That wasn't my point. It was just another creepy thing that got in there. I thought, okay, what else could be going on down there? And it just was one of those things that came in. And I thought, okay, let's have a mystery, and what could be like the weirdest thing down there? And what happened was, excuse me, as I was writing this, I remember my husband was watching a dinosaur show on the Discovery Channel, one of those shows that the dinosaurs look like they're real and they're walking around, and the scientists were confused by this dinosaur because dinosaurs tend to lay a bunch of eggs, and this dinosaur seemed to only have one offspring. And then they realized that this dinosaur did have just as many eggs as all the others, but they picked their favorite and fed all the other ones to that one. And I thought, wow, what if a human tried that? And then that is where that came from.
Wow.
Yeah, because in our book club at school, we know that a lot of people were kind of like,
Shocked.
shocked by the fact that they were humans, and it was just kind of something that touched a lot of people in a weird way, and they did think about it a lot. How did you develop the dad character? Because we found that he's not really the best dad that you could have. He's just not that supportive.
No, that came about over revision after revision after revision. Even after I sold the book, I spent a good year and a half in revisions with my editor, and a lot of wrecks came about in my discussions with my editor, she'd be like, okay, he's just not there yet, and I would keep going and keep going. It's like, okay, how twisted can I make this man? And so, and I've had people ask, well, how come he was so like how he was? I thought, well, if he wasn't, it wouldn't have been much of a story, you know, to put the perfect American family down there and have them all be happy. It wouldn't have been much of a story. So sometimes
I definitely thought it made the story a lot better.
Have a story.
Did any current events or issues inspire any of the books that you've written?
Yeah, definitely. I've watched the news a lot, and I read a lot of news stories, and so with the compound, I really wanted to get the whole nuclear war thing in there, and with the gardener, as I was writing the gardener, I became really interested in sustainability, and I have a good friend who's a professor of sustainability, and boy, I spent about 2 hours talking to him, and a lot of the issues that ended up in the book were actually things that he talked to me about and just scared the pants off me, and I thought, oh, I've got to get that into the book, and so that came about as I was writing the book, and so quite often that'll happen. I'm already writing the book, and I think I know what's going to happen, and then I'll watch something, or I'll watch the Discovery Channel or the news, and something will just strike me, and I'll find a way of putting it in there.
Mm-hmm.
If you could give one overall message or moral to the compound, if there were any, what would it be?
When I write, I don't, like, I'm not trying to get a message across, but once I go back over it, people start talking about, oh, I really like the message of whatever. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I had that in there. For me, maybe there's a message of redemption, because I feel Eli was not the best person when the book started, but he came around, I feel, and kind of redeemed himself. Another one is, I guess for me, it's how far, at what line would you cross to survive? That was kind of how it started out, but then it turned into something different. But that was maybe the question in my mind when I started writing the book.
Yeah, in our book club, we talked about a lot how Eli was kind of a brat outside the compound, and he became a much better person once he was inside.
Yeah.
I think that would affect my life somehow too, because you would feel kind of different, like living in a world where you can just run freely and you can go outside and you can play with your friends, but when you're in the compound, it's not the same way. You have to live by specific guidelines and a specific boundary.
Right. Even though they have everything they could possibly want, it's not the things that you really need.
Yeah. Yeah, we did talk about that. We talked about how kids in our book club would want to live there for a few months, and they would want all their friends to be there, but after a while they would just want to get out, and they would feel like they were spoiled a little too much. And
exactly.
Yeah. Did any earlier books inspire your writing?
Definitely. A big Stephen King fan, and so I think his characters always inspire me, because I think his characters are so alive and real. And I've read a lot of books. Like, I'm trying to remember, like, when I was working on the compound, I had recently read On the Beach, reread On the Beach, which was after a nuclear war, very famous novel. What else was I reading? I like a lot of survival stories and a lot of nonfiction as well. And so I'm always inspired by things I read. I read a lot.
Yeah.
Read a lot.
Okay.
So before we move on to the next question, this summer I did see The Gardener was on Good Morning America. They talked about their summer reading program. So what was your reaction like, and what were your thoughts on Good Morning America picking The Gardener?
That was crazy. And my publisher was really excited too. They called me the day before and they said, okay, all we know is The Gardener is going to be on Good Morning America. We don't know when, we don't know why. And so then it was on, and I think everybody was just so excited that it was there right next to the Hunger Games.
Yeah, it was next to,
It was insane. I was really excited.
Very cool.
What interested you most about kind of writing that post Or like that kind of dystopian thing where it's like a different world, it's a different condition of living.
I love those kind of stories, honestly. The world gone wrong. I've always been drawn to those. When I was in 7th grade, I read this book called The Girl Who Owned a City, which was about America, and a virus had gone through and killed everyone over the age of 12, leaving just these kids to fend for themselves. And I remember I gave an oral book report on it in 7th grade, and this book was so amazing to me. I still have it. It's one of my favorite books as a child. And then I read, when I was 15, I got a hold of The Stand by Stephen King. Again, another one, world gone wrong. What are people going to do to survive? And I've just always been drawn to stories like that and movies like that. I think those are my favorite. The dystopians, the take normal people and the world's gone wrong, and what are they going to do?
Okay. What are you currently working on for writing or anything?
I am currently revising my novel that's going to be out next year. It's called The Raft. It's about a 15-year-old girl who is a survivor of a plane crash in the middle of the ocean. And then I'm currently writing my 4th novel, which is really hard to describe. Like, I can't sum it up without talking for a half hour, so it will just say it's another thriller with a boy as the main character again.
Okay. What are your future plans, like maybe even 5 years in advance, 10 years?
Future plans, hopefully keep writing novels. I have more ideas than I could ever write. And I hope that I keep getting to do what I'm doing, because I really like it.
So we saw in the back of the compound your question and answer, and we saw that you like Harry Potter. What are you looking forward to most from the final film?
One more time?
What are you looking forward to most from the final film?
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it, but I'm also not looking forward to it because then it will be the end.
Yeah.
Oh, part of me is looking forward to the very, very end, where you see them as adults and they're happy and they're with who they want to be with. And I know it'll be really sad, but part of me just really wants to see that, to see them all be happy, to see Harry be happy, and to have the turmoil for the most part be over. But I love the part 1 and I'm really, really excited for part 2.
Because that would just be like horrible to live in Harry's place, and for him to, I mean, it'll be sad to see it on screen, and I know that I'll be sad and all, but I mean, just to see all the characters happy after like 16, 17 years of...
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can always go back and watch them all, so...
And there's going to be happiness after, the end, when Luna always cracks a joke, and things just happen that are just very happy after the whole big climactic scenes.
No, I'm not going to look forward to the characters that die.
I know.
I think that's going to be awful.
But
It'll be a movie.
I'm kind of looking forward to Molly Weasley killing Bellatrix and her one-liner that she uses.
I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a great movie.
Yeah.
Okay. What we're going to move on next is called 1 Minute Potter Spotter, and it's just a list of really fast questions, yes or no, or where you make a choice between 2 things.
All right.
Okay.
Ready? Cake or ice cream? Cake or ice cream?
Cake.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Eat out or eat in?
Eat out.
Harry Potter or Twilight?
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Apple or PC?
Apple or what?
PC.
What was the second word?
Just PC, the computer.
Oh, PC. Sorry.
That's okay. I think I'd be like that too.
Yeah. Cat or dog?
Oh, cat.
Favorite book?
A Prayer for Owen Meany.
Favorite movie?
Signs.
Favorite musician?
Bono.
Favorite sport?
NFL.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for doing the interview with us, and we hope you all enjoyed it, and we hope you had a good time too, Stephanie.
Oh, thank you. I did.
Yeah, thank you very much, and
we hope to talk to you again.
good luck to your writing.